this episode, we go through the exciting new cruise ships you should be looking at in 2026. And if you thought last year had been exciting, wait until you see what we have in store for you this time around. We're talking futuristic ships that look like they belong in a James Bond movie. We've got big, bright and bold theme park ships, a mystery vessel being built in France that may be the most beautiful thing ever to float, and a ship so exclusive that a single week aboard costs more than most people earn in a year. Join us as we count down the most anticipated new ships of the year. This is the Ritzy Travel Guide. Welcome back to the Ritzy Travel Guide. My name is Bill and it's great to have you along with us. And I tell you what, our annual review of the new cruise ships is always one of the most fun videos I make all year. Last year was all about the biggest, but 2026 is all about being the boldest. So, what are the new ships I've got lined up for you? 8 very different ships, something from each sector, because I know that everyone who's watching has different budgets. We got everything from hero mega ships. We're including 2 luxury brands claiming that they are the best. That's an interesting contest. And I have one ship that's so expensive, so exclusive, but I guarantee you'll absolutely want to see it even if you never go on it, because it's an absolute stunner. So off we go, 8 ships to dazzle you with. We'll go in random order from 8 down to 1. Here's the first. Right, let's start with a family favourite and one of the most anticipated mega ship launches of the year, and it's from Royal Caribbean. There wouldn't be a new cruise year without a new cruise ship from Royal Caribbean, and this time it's their Legend of the Seas. Here it is, and it's as big and bold and colourful as you would expect. It's huge. If you want action on a cruise ship that is resort style with rides, this is as good a place to start as any. Arriving in the summer of 2026, the Legend of the Seas is the 3rd and most ambitious entry in their Icon class, coming after Icon and Star of the Seas. They've taken the best bits of the Icon class and give them a twist. Let's start where the action is, the top deck. First off, the Category 6 water park. This isn't just a couple of slides bolted onto a ship, it is the largest water park at sea. A sprawling 17,000 square foot complex that literally dominates the skyline of the ship. There are 6 slides here, and the most talked about is the Frightening Bolt. The floor drops out and you plummet through 282 feet of twists. It's basically a 3-second heart attack followed by a massive splashdown. And then there's the raft rides. Your raft shoots out into a suspended lotus leaf bowl. Also for the adrenaline junkies, you have to face the Crown's Edge. It's part skywalk, part rope course, and part heart attack. 154 foot above the waves. It's possibly the single most terrifying 30 seconds you can have on a cruise ship in 2026. The Legend of the Seas also features 7 unique pools, including the Royal Bay, which is the largest pool at sea. And for those who want to escape the noise, if you're looking for a sunset spot, you should head to the Hideaway. It's the world's first suspended infinity pool at sea. You've also got the Swimming Tonic, the fleet's largest ever swim-up bar, where the bar stools are in the water, so you never even have to leave the pool to get that next round of mojitos. Right, now let's step inside. Let's take a look at dining, and as always with Royal Caribbean there is a huge selection, both included and additional cost. In fact, Royal Caribbean, to be honest with you, probably does have the largest selection of complimentary outlets for any of the cruise line. Now, if you want speciality dining for an additional fee, there are your usual Royal choices, but let me focus on 2 new additions you won't often find. First off, there's the Royal Railway Legend Station. This is a simulator restaurant, first seen on their Utopia of the Seas, but it's the first Icon class ship to get it. It's a dinner show where you sit in a railway carriage recreation, but you're on board the ship in a virtual world. So I say it's like a simulator, and each window is actually a 4K screen that makes you feel like you're on a luxury train travelling the Silk Road through China and India. You can imagine you're Marco Polo. They even build in vibrations and whistle sounds to give that feel of authenticity while you get served a 5-course meal. Next up, you have the Hollywoodland Supper Club. This is a brand new venue for the Legend. It's a themed jazz bar, taking you back to the golden age of Tinseltown with live jazz and a 1940s cabaret vibe. As for theatre, for the first time at sea, Royal is staging a full production of Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's included in your cruise fare. It's a replacement for their Back to the Future musical. Production values are normally very high. The ice rink and the AquaTheater are also back. Now, as with any of these Royal Caribbean shows, it is vital you book quickly because there's never enough capacity. That is job number one with your planning. With 6,000 plus people aboard, you 100% need to book and early. Next up, the cabins. As you can expect from Royal Caribbean, there's a huge array to choose from. Let's go through a few of those. There's an interior balcony, which faces inwards to the heart of the ship, not to the sea. Some like these, others not. And there's also this, the very contentious infinite veranda. You get these on the latest celebrity ships too, which is actually a window rather than a balcony. And then there's some others, such as the fanciful townhouse. Here we go, there's the inside of that. Would you like one of these? There's also a variety of other family suites, all with stunning locations and high prices to match. Okay, where is the Legend of the Seas going to be based? Well, half the year in Florida, sailing a Caribbean route, and the other half in Europe. Now, this is a first and exciting news for those in Europe because an Icon-class ship has never come that direction. Normally, all of their latest ships sail from Florida. So what do we reckon? Is their new ship a hit or a miss? Absolutely, Legend will be a success. The latest Royal Caribbean ships always are, as it does rule the market for those looking for theme park and family resort style ships. They have supreme marketing and PR. People rush to go on these new ships, and by splitting their bases in both Europe and Florida, they will capture both markets. If you've got kids, they will feel it's a paradise. If you're 55 plus, without any kids, maybe not. But do remember though, it will be expensive. Going on these latest Royal ships, you will be hard pressed to find bargains. Those days have gone. Legend of the Seas will be a winner, but you'll need deep pockets to get on. Now, if you're looking for a cheaper option to this, still with those theme park attractions that the kids and family will love, I'm going to show you two alternatives that you can look at, also theme park style, that are launching in 2026, coming up in a couple of minutes' time. Okay, who's ready for the next ship? Let's spin the roulette wheel of luck to see what the next new launch is that we'll look at. A cruise line that you requested us to cover, because on our social media channels recently I put out a little poll asking you to designate, let us know what ship, what cruise line you'd like us to most cover over the next year. Any guess what it is? Well, it's from Explorer Journeys and their new ship, the Explorer 3. Yes, this was the top choice you all asked us to cover. Lucky for us, there is a brand new ship coming out this year, and it's called Explorer 3, debuting in July 2026. Now, Explorer has always been towards the top end, the top tier of cruising, and the first two Explorer ships in the fleet were already good looking. It has proved to be an incredibly popular ship and line, getting widespread praise. So she'll carry 922 guests, supported by a crew of 640. So that is a guest to staff ratio of 1.4 to 1, which means in plain English, you'll never have to look far to get that glass of champagne. Explorer 3 is actually longer and larger than her sisters, but the important fact, they haven't added more passengers. Inside you've got a whole range of bars and lounges, such as the lobby bar. This is the heart of the ship. It's perfect for people watching with a grand piano backdrop. Then the malt whiskey bar. This is complete with a walk-in humidor and a cigar terrace. Got the Explorer Lounge with some of the best afternoon teas at sea. How about dining? It is one of their strong suits. There are 6 main restaurants and no buffets. First off, you've got Anthology. This is where they serve what they call refined Italian cuisine. Next, you've got Sakura, which is the Japanese word for cherry blossom, but offers a region-wide selection of Pan-Asian dishes. Think Wagyu beef, fresh sushi, some Thai curries thrown in. And then you've got Marble & Co Grill, which is a European steakhouse with its own in-house dry ager. They've got selections such as prime rib and caviar. And then you have Fil Rouge, which is their international dining outlet. Now, all these dining outlets on board are included in the fare, no additional price to pay, except for the chef's kitchen, that is extra, where you can have cooking classes at sea. Oceania have something very similar. Now let's look at the cabins, something Explorer has always done very well, particularly against the competition, because every single room on the ship is a suite, and even the entry-level Ocean Terrace suite is large at 377 square foot. Got walk-in wardrobes and bathrooms with heated marble floors. I think that's a feature that should be mandatory on every ship on a cold sailing. And the terraces, everyone has a full-size daybed and a dining table. And if you want to, you can move up to the penthouse, where you have a separate dining area for 4. But for the ultimate wow, there are now 2 owners' residences. Used to be just 1. They're rather swish and swanky. 3,000 square foot mansions at the back of the ship with private infinity whirlpools and a 24-hour butler service. One of the biggest changes on Explorer 3 is the spa, fitness and wellness centre. They've now consolidated this all into one section, and they've redesigned the outdoor decks to include significantly more shaded cabanas and pocket lounges. So what's all this lavishness going to cost you? Well, Explorer is mostly all-inclusive. Let's see what this amounts to. On Explorer 3, your fare covers your suite, all gratuities, high-speed Wi-Fi, as we said, most of your dining. You also get a sophisticated drinks package included. So how much is a typical cruise? Here's a sample. If booked directly with Explorer, of course there are discounts available, but let's just use this as a ballpark indication. 1 week from Miami round the Caribbean in the fall of 2026 is going to run you in the ballpark of $3,500 to $4,000. So, what do we think of the Explorer 3? Is it a hit or a miss? I tell you what, Explorer is making huge progress in this luxury, almost ultra luxury segment. A lot of people are liking them. What is the problem? I feel there might be, if there's one problem, if you hadn't already noticed, Explorer on any of their ships is not adults only. Yes, children and family are permitted. A lot of people hadn't realised this because Explorer is owned by MSC from Italy. Again, you may not have realised that, and they are very family minded and they want to encourage families to come. So if you're one of those people that does not want to see children on board, something to really bear in mind. Now, Explorer has already announced there will be 2 more of these ships being built, so there's going to be 3 over the next few years. So they are expecting lots of bookings, and I think they may well be right. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please do give it a like, give it a thumbs up, as it lets us know we're on the right track. We'll try to put out more of this type of material. Whilst you're at it, you could also try that new hype button. That's a new feature that tells YouTube you like our videos. Okay, who's ready for the next ship? Back to that roulette wheel. Which ship is it now? It's from Norwegian Cruise Lines, NCL. And it's the Norwegian Luna. Here it is. It's the latest in what they call their Prima Plus class of ships. And she'll carry approximately 3,550 passengers at double occupancy. By today's standard, that's considered mid-size. Strange, I know, to call a ship of that capacity mid-size, but there we are, that's the evolution of cruise ships. Norwegian ships always look colourful. This one is no exception. Here's what she looks like in the flesh. Very vivid. This is the sea trials carried out just a few days ago. And Norwegian is rapidly increasing its fleet. Blink, a new one has come out. In fact, Norwegian say they will have 6 new ships coming out over the next 8 years. Only MSC is growing at the same pace. Now, Luna here is the sister ship to what they launched last year in 2025, the Norwegian Aqua. Right, let's get aboard, see what Luna is all about. And there are 2 aspects that the designers wanted to address. First off, make the ship feel more spacious, because one of the biggest complaints on the latest generation of NCL ships is that they often feel cramped, too rammed. So these new Prima Plus ships are 10% bigger, with the aim to make them feel more spacious. They want you to love the decks and open areas, to claw back that feeling of space that went missing. Outdoors does now look quite upmarket and premium. Norwegian also have a reputation for thrill-seeking, so heavy emphasis still on that. As with last year's Aqua, the go-karts are still gone. They were a huge talking point for years, but let's be honest, they were noisy and took up a vast amount of prime real estate. So NCL has permanently swapped these out for the Aqua slide coaster. They've also used that extra 10% to significantly expand the Vibe Beach Club and the main pool areas. The pool deck is now quite a standout. You've got Infinity Beach on deck 8, where the pools literally feel like they're dropping off into the ocean. Feels a little bit like Celebrity's Edge class. So that's the outside. What's the other big change? Norwegian's done a lot to rethink the social hubs. Cocktail lounges are now destinations you enter, not places you just bump past on your way to somewhere else. You've got some relaxed coffee spots and sleek bar spaces with personality. Entertainment-wise, they've completely redesigned their Luna Theatre, and Luna is now debuting Rocket Man. It's a massive concert-style celebration of Elton John, featuring archival footage and 4 grand pianos actually on stage. The Glow Court is back on deck 20. By day, it's a sports complex with the likes of pickleball, and by night it transforms into an adults-only lunatic pop circus venue. What about food? Well, NCL is doubling down on variety. You've got Sukhothai returning. It's their first ever dedicated Thai restaurant. You don't see many Thais at sea. You've got Plantery, which is a plant-based eatery within the Indulge Food Hall, and Tamara, which is Indian. Some of the old classics are still there, such as Cagnes Steakhouse and Onda by Scarpetta. Let's now look at cabins, because they'd rejigged some of those too. And for those who want to upmarket their experience, the Haven on Luna is the largest they have on their entire fleet. They've introduced these massive 3-bedroom duplex suites. Think of it as a quadplex apartment at sea with its own private elevator. It's possibly the ultimate ship-within-a-ship experience. They have a whole raft of other different cabins for different price points. So what do we think? Is the Norwegian Luna a hit or a miss? I think it certainly has the potential to be so. They are trying to turn a frantic ship into a more sophisticated one. They have listened to feedback about crowding and space and responded with smarter layouts, better social zones, and upgraded the dining. So let's call us cautiously optimistic. But they do have to be careful about their reputation for nickel and diming. If there's one negative, they are increasingly gaining a reputation for upcharges on a variety of offerings around the ship. Now, this is an industry-wide complaint to be fair, but Norwegian is copping more flack than many others. The maiden voyage is scheduled for April the 4th, 2026, initially sailing from Rome to Miami, then homeporting in Miami for some Caribbean cruises to destinations like Belize, Mexico, Honduras and the Bahamas. I tell you what, we will try to schedule Luna into our cruise selection for 2026 so that we can film it and report back to you with our honest review on the ship. Still to come in this video, we have 2 luxury new ships to show you. One of them, the most anticipated launches of the decade. I kid you not, we've also got one that the kids will love you for. Before all of that, let's go back to the roulette wheel for our new launch, and it's one for those looking for affordable cruising. And who've we got? MSC World Asia. She's the 3rd in their so-called world-class series, following on from World Europa and World America. It's extraordinary how many ships MSC is churning out lately. It's like a Ford factory from 100 years ago, just rolling off the production line. And here she is in the shipyard under construction. These world-class are the largest they have, so absolute whoppers. And this one, World Asia, is going to be based in Europe. Well, at least for the first year or 2. So that's 2 big ships all in Europe. You've got Royal Caribbean and World Asia battling it out for European supremacy. So why is it called World Asia when it's going to be based initially in Europe? Well, because of some of the theming they're doing inside the ship. Here's what I mean. It's got an oriental feel to it. Not the whole ship, but key parts. The heart of the ship, this is massive. 12-metre-long dragon sculpture that's almost 40 feet high, ablaze with 700 mirrors and 3,000 LED lights. I do wonder if they've thought out the feng shui repercussions of this one. Right next to it is the Tree of Life. That's the name they have for their slide. Apparently it's the largest dry slide at sea. Now, it's very similar to what's already on World America. Here's some footage we took on our recent cruise on that. It's going to look very similar to this, transporting guests down 12 decks in seconds. Carrying on with the thrills, if you're bringing the family or grandkids on this 7,000 passenger whopper, MSC has carved out an entire district called Family Aventura. You have the harbour, it's on their other ships too. This is the family zone, but it's been redesigned with some Asian-inspired decor. It's still got the cliffhanger, that's that over-water swing. Here's how it looked when we were recently on World America. Would you go on this? Do you have the nerve it takes to go? There's a brand new section on World Asia called the Clubhouse. They've basically taken all the high-energy stuff and put it under one roof. There's also a Lego family zone. As for food, let's take a look at that. And on the promenade deck, there's a big change. It's the Pan-Asian Marketplace. This looks as though it's replacing Paxos Greek, and the new marketplace will feature flavours from Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam and Indonesia. Returning will be 40 other venues and bars and lounges aboard, such as Butcher's Cut Steakhouse. There's going to be their classic pub with a full-scale microbrewery, as well as a TV studio and bar. And of course, Yacht Club is back. This is their ship within their ship section. This is even bigger than it's ever been. Messy's making a really big push for Yacht Club and wants you to book it because I guess it makes them a lot of money. In fact, it probably subsidises some of their cheaper cabins. So what is our ritzy travel guide verdict on this new MSC World Asia? Well, MSC has never been for everyone. If you spend your life on smaller, quieter ships, this is not going to be for you. It's going to be quite a shock to the system. But for a lot of people, they love these theme park ships. Some people say it's an absolute copycat of Royal Caribbean, but even if it is at a price which is significantly cheaper, and this is what's drawing people in, and the value for money is unquestionable. Whilst Royal Caribbean is charging eye-watering prices for their new ships, MSC is often half the price for a mega ship style experience. If you're looking for a budget option with reasonable quality, MSC is probably for you. The World Asia is debuting in December, yet again, December 26. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, we just came back from a cruise aboard their current flagship, the World America. We took a mountain of videos and photos, and very soon we'll be releasing our full review and verdict on that ship. We'll show you exactly what it feels to be on a class of ship just like this new one. We'll go through what we liked, what we really didn't, because we saw elements of both. Some aspects surprised us for good and bad. We'll go through all those dining options, the entertainment, the indoor and outdoor activities, and show you a typical cabin. And we'll give you our honest opinion. Now, remember to be subscribed to our channel so you know when that video drops. Subscription is free. It doesn't cost you anything. It just gives you a heads up when these ones are coming out. And if I were you, press that notification bell. It also gives you an alert when the new videos are out. Let's go back to the roulette wheel for our new launch. Let's take a look at the luxury end of the cruising market. In fact, the ultra luxury segment. And one of the best known names in this sector, it's from Regent. And it's their first ship in a whole new class. This is the debut of the Prestige class. And it's the first time in over a decade that Regent has designed a new ship from the keel up. And she will carry just 850 guests. Let's talk first impressions, and the moment you get aboard, you're greeted by the Starlight Atrium. It's a soaring two-storey central hall that's truly the beating heart of the ship, with twin spiral staircases sweeping up through the space beneath a glass-enclosed skylight. The designer of the ship said our goal was to make people stop in their tracks, awestruck by the sheer scale and magnificence. It's what Regent is calling their unrivaled space at sea, and designed to look like a high-end boutique. And throughout the common areas, they say you'll find intricate details like pleated leather paneling and light fixtures designed to resemble fine jewellery. Some of the principal lounges are also quite the statement, such as Galileo's Lounge and Meridian, perhaps harking back to the golden age of travel. Likewise, the theatre. There's a touch of Art Deco 1920s and 30s to it. There's the Observation Lounge. This is the crown jewel, I think, on the Prestige, with a massive wraparound glass frontage. Now let's look at the cabins, what they call the suites, and Regent has gone all out for these. Really gone for broke. And what's causing most buzz is these new suites, which Regent claim are the biggest, bestest, nicest you've ever come across on a cruise ship. The ship has several entirely new categories, including Grand Loft Suites, Horizon Penthouse Suites, and their jaw-dropping Skyview Regent Suite. A 2-level affair in the sky with its own private terrace and even an in-suite elevator. Here it is, 8,800 square feet of it just for you, with wraparound views on 2 levels. It can take up to 6 guests. So, how much will this Sky View suite cost? Have a guess? $25,000 per night. So if you book yourself for the entire week, that's $175,000. Are you contacting your bank right away to wire those funds? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to spend less, there are, of course, a variety of different cabins. One notch below the most expensive is the Loft Suite. Looks like it could be in Manhattan, and there are, of course, many more affordable options. And what about pricing? Well, Regent Seven Seas is possibly the undisputed champion of the all-in philosophy. Whilst other lines are starting to nickel and dime for excursions or specialty dining, Regent is doubling down. So when you step aboard, your wallet effectively disappears. Your fare doesn't just cover your suite, it also covers shore excursions in every port. It includes premium spirits and fine wines, prepaid gratuities, Wi-Fi, and even your laundry. It's possibly the most frictionless way to travel. You never sign a bill. Your fare also includes dining. On the new Prestige, you have 11 distinct culinary experiences, including 7 specialty venues. Every one of those is included in your fare. You have the favourites back, such as Compass Rose, the signature Prime Steakhouse, the elegant French Chartreuse, and Asian in the Pacific Rim. And there's one newcomer, the Azure. This is the debut of a Mediterranean Mezze-style venue, with an exotic Middle Eastern feel as well, all thrown in. So, whilst Regent is unashamedly expensive and top tier, pretty much everything is included. So, how much will a cruise on the new Prestige be? You're talking about $6,000 to $8,000 for an 8 to 10 night sailing per person for more affordable cabins. So that's the Regent Prestige, setting sail in December 2026. Amazing how many of these new ships we're covering today are setting sail right at the end of the year, just to squeak in for this calendar year. And the ship will tour the Caribbean, the Panama Canal, Central America, before heading off to Europe for the summer 2027 season. Still to come, a really popular one for the families, and the most anticipated luxury launch of the decade. Right, we're up to number 3 on our list, and who've we got? That's right, it's from Disney, and this is one for the family, particularly the younger ones, but for all ages. In fact, some adults love going on Disney. It's their new ship, and it's called the Adventure. Here it is, just as you imagine, feeling like you're in a Disney theme park. Now, I do have to address the elephant in the room. In fact, in this case, probably we should say the mouse in the room. This ship was supposed to have been released last year in 2025, but Disney missed the deadline. Not often Disney does that. And so it's been moved into 2026. It's now supposedly, hopefully, fingers crossed, coming out in March 2026. Let's go through what it is and why it's been delayed. So here we go, the Disney Adventure, and it's the largest ship Disney have ever come up with. But here's the twist. It's not even a new ship that they've built from scratch. Nope, they bought a partly built one off somebody else. Strange but true, because during the pandemic, an Asian cruise company called Genting went bust. At the time, they were halfway through building a new ship, and this is what it was going to look like under their company banner. It was going to be called the Genting Global Dream, a large ship over 200,000 gross tons, and it was going to cater to 4,000 passengers, and it was going to showcase the latest that China and Asia had to offer, with, for the time, some really cutting-edge technology, such as facial recognition, but this was going to be introduced 5 years before everybody else. They were going to have theme parks up on top, with the largest roller coaster at sea. Well, when Genting Cruises folded, the ship was never finished. Nobody really wanted it until, surprisingly, Disney stepped in and bought it. Nobody predicted that one. So, here's what it's going to look like under new ownership as a Disney ship. So, as mentioned, it's the biggest cruise ship Disney have ever operated and will be home ported in Singapore for at least the first 5 years, and they will be operating 3 and 4 night itineraries. There's quite a few firsts, so let's take a quick look around. On deck, there will be the Marvel Character Zone. Disney did decide to retain the roller coaster that Genting Dream started. They claim it will be the longest roller coaster at sea, 820 foot long to be exact. You'll be on a Tony Stark-inspired vehicle, and Wavefinder Bay, a huge open pool and deck area at the aft of the ship. Also a performance venue putting on live shows. And if you're into gaming, there will be a big Hero Arcade, a family gaming lounge, which will also include a training simulator. Right at the heart of the ship will be Imagination Garden, featuring 3-deck high screens. There will be 7 different zones that they say will be completely immersive. At Discovery Reef, you can shop, dine and play. A zone where you can imagine you're underwater with the Little Mermaid, Lilo and Stitch, and Finding Nemo. As for dining, there will be 3 distinctly themed main restaurants, harking back to the golden days of Hollywood in the 30s and 40s. There will be 2 unusual animated restaurants, such as Animator's Palette, decorated for film strips and props. There's a couple of buffets on board, such as this one, evoking the movie Tangled, and a multitude of other outlets. Very quick look at the cabins. As you can expect from Disney, there will be family rooms with a variety of bed configurations and some bright and airy balcony cabins. If you want to go right up the price bracket, you could go concierge with its dedicated areas. Here's the private retreat. As the Disney Adventure is far bigger than all the other Disney ships, the facilities for concierge class are also far bigger, with a huge outdoor dedicated and exclusive deck area. Okay, so here's my observations about the ship. It is huge, double the size of any previous Disney ship. It's going to host up to 6,000 passengers. Typically a Disney ship is 2,000 to 3,000, so it's huge in comparison. It makes it officially the 10th largest ship in the world. It's going to be home ported, as we've heard, in Singapore. But that's not the most surprising aspect. What is that all of their cruises, the 3 and the 4-night cruises, that's what they're offering, are cruises to nowhere. You go out, circle around the sea for 3 or 4 days, and come back again. You're not even going to another port. You're not even going to another country. You're not going anywhere else. You're just at sea and coming back again. Who knows why they've made that decision? I know they could say, well, the ship itself is the destination. Yes, I've heard that before. But to have no itineraries going to a port is a very, very odd decision. Are they going to take to this concept of a cruise to nowhere? Well, we'll find out in pretty swift order. If after a year or 2 they can't sell the ship, can't fill out those cabins, guess what? I expect they'll be sending the Adventure straight back to be home ported in North America. Stranger things have happened. Okay, we've now got to the final 2 ships of our video. Both are possibly the most spectacular launches of 2026. And it is something completely different. I did promise you at the outset that all 8 ships would cover very varying experiences. This one absolutely does. It's from Orient Express, yes, the luxury train company. So she's called the Orient Express Corinthian, and she is officially the world's largest sailing yacht. It's a 720-foot marvel, a revolutionary floating palace that revives the golden age of travel. As you can see, she's actually part cruise ship, part yacht. Never been done before on this scale or with the features she's got. 140 years ago, the Orient Express redefined luxury on the rails, but this time at sea. She'll carry just 110 guests in 54 suites, served by a crew of 170. And the first wow you see are those masts. They stand nearly 330 feet tall, that's 100 meters. But take a look closer, these sails aren't cloth. They're called solid sails, which are rigid panels of carbon fibre that tilt and rotate automatically. Stepping onto the Corinthian isn't like boarding a cruise. Just look at these rich, dark colours. I think it's like stepping into a spy novel. It is pure James Bond. There's no neon, no plastic, and certainly no go-karts. The interiors were designed by Maxime Dangiac, the man currently restoring the original Orient Express train cars. He's brought the same Art Deco feel here. Lots of mirrors and dark woods and plush upholstery. There's the speakeasy tucked away. It's a dark, intimate spot, perfect for discussing, well, state secrets or something like that. Oh, and there's also a tailor aboard. When did you last find a tailor? A barber, yes, not often a tailor. Well, you do need to look dapper and swashbuckling whilst you're at sea. Right, what about the food? Loads and loads of different dining options. Let's just mention a few. How about l'Ancre, which serves seafood and champagne? How swish does this look? There's a whole load more, including the namesake Table Orient Express, with cuisine curated by Michelin star chefs. Let's take a look outside, and there's no shortage of futuristic style amenities. There's an attached marina at the back with all the toys you'd want, as well as a snazzy tenderboat that looks like it's so fast it could fly. I'm going to come on to the price in just a moment, but first let's take a look at the cabins. Whole range to take your fancy, all with some very fanciful names. Beautifully furnished and set out and decorated. So, how much does it cost? What if you want to sell off the family silver, the family jewellery and book yourself aboard? Well, as we stand, the maiden voyage is scheduled for June 2026. The Corinthian will be sailing in the Mediterranean, and here's some sample costs and itineraries. How about this? A 7-night sailing around Corsica, yours for around 36,000 euros. That's about $42,000. Or the Italian Riviera for $43,000. Those prices are per suite, not per person. Almost a bargain, I hear you say. But there are some much cheaper cabins on there. If you go online, you'll be able to find all of those for yourself. I'm just showing you some of the pricey ones for the fun of it. Now, this isn't even the most expensive ship we're going to cover in this video. No, we're going to cover something even more expensive. It's at least the equal, possibly more, than the Orient Express Corinthian. Okay, we've now got to the final ship, number 1 of our new launches for this year, 2026, and it's for the 0.1% of the population. Yes, it's from Four Seasons, that well-known upmarket brand of hotels, and they're calling the ship Four Seasons number 1. It's breathtakingly expensive, and it's supposed to make every other ship look a bit of an also-run. We're looking at a ship that will cost a staggering $4.2 million per cabin, per suite to build. Whilst the big lines are trying to pack people in, Four Seasons has gone the other way. They have just 95 suites for a maximum of 180 guests, served by a crew of 180. That's a 1-to-1 staff-to-guest ratio, meaning service is going to be fantastic. Well, I'd almost expect the service to be telepathic. There should be no lines, no crowds, and no waiting. I'll show you inside in just a moment, because the innovation begins at the waterline. The hull opens up on both sides of the ship. This creates a 7,000 square foot indoor-outdoor beach club that spans the entire width of the vessel. And the ship's marina has all sorts of fun gadgets and aquatic equipment to try out at your leisure. Even the tenderboat looks like it might win a speed record. Up on deck, the social heart of the ship is the aft pool deck, inspired by the legendary Christina O ship. It features a 60-foot saltwater pool that's a masterpiece of engineering. The water can drain out, the pool can go to deck level, transforming into a dance area. Now let's talk about the cabins, the suites. These, as much as anything, have been the talking point in the world's press. There's all sorts of cabins, but let's start with the most lavish, the most talked about one, and that's the funnel suite. And it's also the most expensive. It's nearly 10,000 square feet of real estate. It's on 4 floors and completely behind glass, built directly into the ship's enclosed funnel with a 280-degree panorama view. You get your own private lift, a dedicated kitchen, a private spa, your own outdoor gym, your own deck, of course, with plunge pool, lavish bathroom. It's all there. All right, let's cut to the chase. How much do you think that funnel suite costs? $50,000 per night. That's the answer. That's equivalent of $350,000 a week. Frankly, it makes every other suite in the cruise industry look quite pokey by comparison. You've got all sorts of other cabins. Here they go. Something for all types of tastes, all with fanciful, amazing bathrooms. You name it, there is a cabin for your budget. Let's now talk about the 11 different dining and lounge areas. Four Seasons is bringing its 33 Michelin stars to the sea and a rotating master chef in residence program, bringing the world's top culinary talent directly to your table on board the ship, with the fish apparently is going to be flown in from the world's seafood markets. Now here is the biggest surprise, what they call the biggest disruptor in the cruise industry. Everything that I've just showed you is not an all-inclusive ship. No, a lot of it you've got to pay for on top of what the suite costs you. That means all of those 11 world-class restaurants and bars I just showed you, those come at an additional cost. You've got to settle up for them separately. Now, what on earth is the logic for this? Well, Four Seasons' explanation is this is following the model of their hotels, which are bed and breakfast in effect already. They're not all-inclusive. They say, and this is officially, they say, well, they're not a Sandals. They're not trying to emulate that model. They want to emulate their own hotel at land model, where the ship and the suites that you book are included, but then you pay on top for the other items. Shouldn't they just bundle that in? I would have thought so. They say not. They say if you can afford to go on there, you can afford to pay that little bit extra. A huge number of people, I think, are going to say that looks like nickel and diming, but that's just me. Maybe I'm entirely wrong. What do you think? Anyway, I digress. Here's the sheet of exactly what's included. Your connectivity, you get premium high-speed Wi-Fi. It includes your wellness center. It also includes that marina experience. Get full access to all those water toys, kayaks, pedal boards, electric machines. What about the bar? Is that included? No, that's extra, I'm afraid. So when you visit that bar, just remember that. So, where's the ship going to? Well, all round the world, to be honest with you. The maiden voyage is in March 2026. That will go from Malaga to Malta, and then throughout the rest of the year, she'll visit 130 destinations across 30 countries, just about everywhere you could think of. Incidentally, one final point to mention, do you know who the captain is? You might well know them. They're quite famous. The captain, the commander for this new Four Seasons yacht is none other than Captain Kate McHugh, one of the most recognised figures in cruising. She's been with celebrity for years and years. For many of their Edge-class ships, you've possibly seen her social media. So, what do you reckon about this new Four Seasons ship? Let me know. It's always fascinating to hear what you think. Please do drop your comments down in the box. In fact, let me know your thoughts on all of these ships. Which are you personally going for? Which takes your fancy? There's no right or wrong answer. Let us know which you're planning to book, because these ships show us that cruising isn't just evolving, it's maturing. Now, what are the next 2 cruise ship reviews we have for you coming up on our channel? They're very different to each other. First off, we've got that review on MSC World America. That's an interesting one. A lot of people want to know about that. As well as our review on the Oceania Allura. We've literally just got off that a week or 2 ago. This ship is also getting a lot of attention. We think it's getting a lot right. We'll have the inside scoop on both of these ships, showing you how our time was aboard. As always, thank you so much for joining us here on the Ritzy Travel Guide. It's been an absolute pleasure. 2026 is going to be a fascinating year for the cruise industry. While waiting for our next video, we already have several on our channel, which you can watch here, and indeed here, and we'll see you in one of these videos now.